What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Late Show. How is everybody doing out there tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm not going to do my usual little, say what's up to everybody, just because we're a bit of on a time constraint and whatnot. It is very early overseas, so I don't want to take up too much of the time. But I want to thank every single one of you for being here. Now, real quick, you guys have probably seen that you see a lot of wrenches in chat. We have some guest mods in chat, so please treat these guest mods like family. And anybody else that you might see that's a new face, they might be new to the channel, checking us out. They're coming over from Constantine's channel and to watch this interview. So please, you know how we do it here on the channel. We're very family friendly. Mods, if you guys need anything, Constantine's mods, you guys know what to look for. I wouldn't say ban anybody unless it gets really out of hand. Time them out, let them know, and we'll go from there. The other mods, you guys know how things run. If anybody has any questions, or if anybody does get banned for being excessive, you can always email me and we can talk about it. Other than that, that should give you guys an inclination. We just got to be very careful on some of the things we say to protect our guests. So hopefully everyone understands that. What's up, everybody? I see some people signing in chat, but we're going to get this party started. All right, folks. So let me bring up my guest tonight. And my guest is Constantine from inside Russia. How you doing tonight? Or this morning, I should say, right? Can you hear me?
5:30 in the morning. Doing pretty well. Sleepless night. I can hear you well. Can you?
Yes. I'm assuming there might be a small delay from YouTube or no, you should hear me pretty good on StreamYard. As YouTube's, there's the delay. But go ahead.
I'm hearing you excellent. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better now, perhaps?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I can hear you pretty good, loud and clear.
Okay. Well, 5:30 in the morning, Moscow, Russia, capital of Russia. Good morning to everyone on this side of the pond, and good evening to you all. Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Grey. This is a new channel for me, so it's a pleasure to meet you all.
I appreciate that. And for some of the folks who might not know who Constantine is or his channel, I'm going to let him kind of explain a little bit about his channel and what it's all about and whatnot. And then we'll dive into some things, that are going to be quite intriguing, stuff like, gas prices over there and food costs and stuff like that. But first, I'll let Constantine kind of introduce himself and he'll tell you a little bit about himself and his channel.
Well, thank you. I am in mid-40s. I was born and raised in Russia. When I was 20, I moved to the United States, went to school, worked, lived in the USA for about 9 years, then moved back to Russia. I've been an executive at a large construction company here in Russia for the past, God knows how many years. I have 5 kids. I'm married. I'm Christian, fairly conservative. My values are God, freedom, hard work, and family. Basically, a couple of years ago, I started doing YouTube as a hobby, something very small on the side, not for the money, but my YouTube channel was born out of me writing lots of letters to family and friends overseas. I have so many because, I lived for so long, in the USA, and then I traveled. I lived 2 years in Uzbekistan after I came back to Russia, and for 1 year in Ukraine. So I have tons of friends everywhere, and I kept on writing letters. They were asking me how things in Russia, and I kept on writing and writing. And then at one point, I figured, hey, listen, perhaps I write to one person. Perhaps that might be interesting to many other people. And I decided to start a YouTube channel instead of actually writing letters. Then I started making videos, okay, and uploading them. So that's how Inside Russia was born. I actually named the channel Letters to King first for about first year, because I was actually writing a letter to a friend of mine, King Weinstein, in Maine, and I figured, hey, that's a letter to King. But then to make it more informative, I renamed it into Inside Russia. And basically, my channel was about education and entertainment for people, because I thought that Russia was greatly misunderstood. Well, I know both countries. I know the West, and I know Russia. And I understand that Russia has been greatly misunderstood always by the West and misinterpreted. Okay, so I wanted to fix that, and I was giving people the way I see Russia. I was giving them the videos, the pictures, and it was going pretty well. Just bit by bit. My channel was fairly small until the 24th of February. Then everything changed. Okay, our lives changed. I would like to ask you to, Russia is not the safest place for any person right now. Speaking up, and that's definitely not the safest for me. So, I see quite a few people in the chat. So please don't really post controversial questions. There are quite a few things that are obvious to you, but they cannot be said by me because I will get in trouble. They passed new laws. You're not going to believe they're ridiculous. But anyway, they exist. And, for example, I call Ukraine's conflict special military operation. If I call it something else, a much simpler and shorter word, that might get me in trouble. Things like that. So my mods know what to do. They're excellent. They're really godsend, and they're keeping me safe, keeping my back safe. So please read to what mods have to say, and then just follow their line. But basically, since the 24th of February, it's been a month. Russia has changed by a great deal, and my mission is to inform, because not too many people know what's going on. It's the same thing, but it's only much more extreme. Extreme content. So things are happening here that very greatly misunderstood by the West. And before it was just entertainment, education, things like that. But now it's serious. It's a serious issue. It's a birth of a new country, possibly. A new country is evolving, and this is my mission to actually document what's going on and inform people. That's a nutshell.
It's quite intriguing. I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't say this. Yarn Prepper, thank you in advance, Yarn. We talked earlier today, so thank you for linking me up with Constantine. I truly appreciate you, Yarn. That just popped in my head when I saw you scroll by the screen, Yarn. All right, so and it's when I talk about countries, a lot of people, when I talk in general, like on some of my more political rants and whatnot, I tell a lot of folks, when I talk about something, be it Russia, China, Iran, wherever it may be, I always tell folks I'm not talking about the people, because the people are the ones that usually are under the, let's say, the hammer or the pressure or what the boot, however you want to, people want to state that. I said, it's not the people that you got to. It's not the people that are doing this. It's the governmental entities. Like here in the U.S., things happen here. We can't blame, Joe Schmo for this. It's the political realm of things, just like in other places, let's say like North Korea and stuff like that. And I hate when folks kind of group people into that. You know what I mean? Because we're all people. We're all human beings, And I think people need to recognize that. I have a friend of mine, Constantine, that's she was adopted. She said that they stopped doing it now, but here in the U.S., they used to let people adopt Russian children. So she was adopted. She was brought over here. She lived in I forget where exactly in Russia she lived, but she gave me somewhat of an insight on what life was like. They kind of lived in a more rural area, did a lot of their own growing their own food and stuff like that. And I've always asked her, so, well, did you feel in fear of your life all the time? She said, well, not where we lived. And I just kind of picked her brain a lot about a lot of stuff. But it's like, I wanted to bring up the McDonald's thing. Everybody knows McDonald's, right? And I remember watching your video, the whole McDonald's video, because it seemed like, all these Western companies and stuff like that are we're all getting out of here. We call it the woke society. Those folks, politically correct kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Things that we've been dealing with here in the U.S. for quite some time. But from my understanding, not too long ago, McDonald's is back, right?
Bad in terms of back or bad?
Yeah, like has returned. You can actually go to McDonald's and
no. No,
Really?
that's a mistake. I know that a lot of people, a lot of bloggers have been saying, "Oh, look, this McDonald's is open." Well, first of all, all McDonald's has closed their doors on the 13th of March,
Okay.
and there are a few that stayed for a couple of days longer, just selling out their stock inventory. Okay, which is kind of understandable. Otherwise, they would just throw it out in the trash can, right? And
Yeah.
and what happened after that is quite interesting. You see, there are different models of owning McDonald's in Russia. Some franchises, and I guess some they belong directly to McDonald's. So what all stores that McDonald's could control, they closed. Okay, so McDonald's Corporation stuck to its word. But there were some independent restaurants and they breached contracts and they kept on working. They're basically not McDonald's anymore, but they're pirates. Okay.
Okay.
And I don't think McDonald's can go after them in this situation in our country. Won't even try. I think it's just closing its eyes, saying no, whatever. But they breached the contract. They are working not under contract with McDonald's. So it's the same old McDonald's, but not really, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Because I was always intrigued by when I started seeing some of this stuff because I'm like thinking like, where does all the food come from? The employees. I'm assuming it's all the distribution is there inside of Russia. I know they can't just be flying stuff all the time from the U.S. to so that you guys can have
No, that'd be so expensive,
right. So I was
Yeah,
always
the
trying to
entire
figure out how to.
infrastructure is in Russia. They basically grow their potatoes. They start with growing things. They have huge fields. They grow potatoes, certain potatoes. Then they buy meat in huge quantities. Actually, one of my neighbors here in Moscow in an apartment
Hmm.
underneath me, he's a supplier to McDonald's. He supplies meat.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to him like first grade meat, like the best meat McDonald's buys, so there's no problem there. But everything is in Russia, everything, except for the high management personnel that is
Right.
imported from the USA.
Quite intriguing, to say the least. And like I was watching a couple of your vids not too long ago, and it seems like gas is still relatively affordable in your area compared to here in the U.S. and some of the other surrounding countries. Thank you, Elizabeth, for that super chat. Oh, she liked your video and McDonald's tribute, made her tear up. That's great. Hey, Red Road. But where did I do this all the time, Con. I get lost in chat sometimes and forget what the heck I'm talking about.
That's okay. I know the feeling. So I know the feeling. You gotta acknowledge and thank people that do super chats.
But where was I? Oh, and gas. So I noticed that you had said that gas is relatively still somewhat affordable, I'm assuming, because you broke it down to US dollars, which I thought was very nice of you to do that. And but you said food cost has gone up somewhat. Hey, Shadow Scout Swede from Sweden.
Uh, Say it again. What did you say the last sentence?
Sorry, I saw. Whenever I see people from other countries, I always like to say them.
Oh,
He's
say
from
hi to them.
Sweden.
So you're
Um,
asking me about the prices for gas and the food? What's the
yeah, like
situation?
what are you seeing in Russia? Fuel cost and food cost, being that the rest of like the Western allies are kind of putting pressure on the distribution of that into the country.
It's really a strange situation. Basically, it's a very, very unique and it's really hard to explain what's going on here. Everything is changing in front of our eyes. Nothing, we haven't seen anything like this before. Um, First thing, like in the first few days, nothing happened. Okay, then the Western sanctions were started being announced, and then to me it was obvious because I knew how people in the West were, what's their attitude towards this special military operation was, and I simply knew that the earthquake happened and now tidal wave was coming. And
Right.
then first few days we were unaffected. Emotionally, everyone was affected because this Ukraine was being bombed by Russian planes, right? That's just incredible. It's like Maine is being bombed by New Hampshire. Same thing, you know what I mean? And Mainers die of New Hampshire bombs. That's so. But then with gas, very strange situation because you see, first sanctions started getting announced and the prices slowly went up for everything. But first it was like 10-15%, but the gas actually dropped. Um, this is the first time I've seen gas in Russia dropping. No matter what happens, gas always goes up. Okay, when I came to Russia, the gas price was 18 rubles, 17 rubles, something like that per liter, and that's one quarter of a gallon. And now it's 50. So it's gone up 2.5 times. That's a lot. And every time price of oil, like global price of oil goes up, Russian gas goes up. Price of oil goes down, Russian gas goes up. I mean, it's magic, okay? But this time, for the first time in my life, I've seen the prices drop for about 3 to 3.5%. I couldn't believe it, but that's fact, okay? I take it there are two reasons. One is Russian oil and Russian gas. They started buying, like exports were cut by a great deal, okay? So they started selling in larger quantities domestically. That's one thing. Another thing is they started regulating prices of gas not to anger people because everyone feels, when prices go up, people get angry at pumps. So perhaps that's what happened. But everything else started going up. At first, a couple of weeks, no big deal. 10-15% affordable. Me and my wife, we went to a store, we got stocked on everything pretty much for a couple of months. And then that was 2 weeks ago. She came back from the store yesterday and she was, her eyes were the size of, I don't know, plates, we call it big. And she said, everything since our visit, everything has doubled. Everything. Like the least 80% up, but most things 100%. I stopped by the store today, well, last night after work, and I saw the same thing. The prices on everything have gone up. Well, that's obvious. I mean, we can't expect the prices staying the same if our economy is actually getting ruined, and the most important thing is the exchange rate of Russian ruble to American dollar is going up. It means everything's going up, okay? It's almost doubled. It just makes sense that the prices for food, they double or, almost double. So that's the thing. And it's pretty bad right now, let me tell you. People start feeling it. I start feeling it myself. I mean, I'm not the poorest person in Russia. I'm not hugely rich, but I'm well to do. I'm an executive at a large company. But I start feeling the heat at the cash register, okay? That's pretty bad. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
Thank you for that. I have a good friend of mine. I consider Rudy, Alaska Prepper, a good friend of mine. And he brought up a question that I figured I'd ask. Let's see here. I'm trying to scroll to make sure I have it. Because you can't see chat, right? Or can you see chat?
Yes, I can.
All right. So if I bring this up here, let me back this up really quick. If I bring this up, I don't know if you'd be able to see that or not.
Looks like Rudy, Alaska Prepper, is here. Oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good friend of the channel, man. But he's asking, for those holding gold prior to the devaluation of the ruble, would you say that they are able to maintain their purchasing power or not?
No, of course not. Of course not. We look. the ruble goes up. I mean, the exchange rate goes up. For example, let me break it up for you. $1 American costs, that's just imaginary, 10 Russian rubles. Okay. Um, an iPhone is imported from China, from the United States, in China, and iPhone costs $100. So therefore, we must pay 1,000 rubles for an iPhone. And us Russians, we make like money. The ones who have businesses earn money, and most of us don't have businesses. We earn salaries in rubles, okay, and our salaries are staying the same. So basically, we getting an equivalent. We get 100 rubles per week, let's say, right? That's an equivalent of $10 per week, okay, and that's okay. But all of a sudden, American dollar costs 20 rubles, but we still get salaries of, 100 rubles per week. Our salaries not connected to dollar. It's all in Russian rubles, right? So we still making the same money in rubles, but in American dollars, all the products that imported from abroad, they're in dollars. Therefore, we can afford twice as little. Okay, to us, they just became twice as expensive. In Russia, we only produce food, agricultural products, pretty much, and raw materials. We pump oil, we pump gas, we make metals and things like that. And Russian people don't buy and eat and use that. Okay, that's exported. Everything else is well, most of the things are imported. Electronics, computers, furniture, apparel, clothing, anything. So now we're facing these two problems. First problem is everything has gone in price twice because we're still making same amount in rubles, but those things imported from abroad in dollars, okay, and they automatically cost twice as much in rubles, and we can afford twice as little. That's one thing. And the second problem is no supplies because companies stopped working with Russia. They basically canceled Russia. They don't want to bring anything. They will not sell to Russia. This place has become toxic for them. And we just, this is the second problem. Um, we not getting anything. There's deficit. We start running deficits on everything. So I see Rudy says, I'm not talking about imports. I'm talking about things you need to live, like energy, food. Food, same thing. A lot of food is imported, like processed food. Like in Russia, we grow wheat. We grow sunflowers, for example, and then we sell to Turkey. In Turkey, they process and then bring us back sunflower oil. Okay. Then same thing about wheat, and basically we buy a lot, and that stuff goes up along with the dollar. Energy, natural gas, gasoline, pretty much stays the same because it's produced here in Russia, but also it will go up in price. I mean, trust me, it will go up. Probably not twice as much, but it will go up. And pretty much Russian-made products have gone up in price as well. Just speculations. People like, what's this word in English? Shark. Basically, they go up in price twice as much because they can.
Because they want to make money off the
Yeah,
the
they want to make
situation.
more money. That's pretty much it. Okay. Everything else is going in price. Why the hell do I have to sell sugar that's made in Russia for the same price? Okay.
Right.
So that's the same thing. So pretty much everything is going up in price.
See, and I was always curious about that because I've been doing a lot of research trying to figure things out. Because when I look up wheat and metals and fertilizer and a lot of stuff, Russia is a major producer of, like, I think they run 29% of the world's wheat. I think that they produce. They're one of the top three up there. And then in the oil industry, they're one of the top. They're in the top five or up there as well.
Yeah.
because it seems like I'll get you right. I'll get you real quick, Kimberly, in a second. Um, that that basically here in the U.S. we import over $1 trillion worth of goods a year, at least, from all the research that I've done. Now I could be wrong, because I'm just reading off information that I come across and trying to do some research on that information specifically. But a lot of other countries, let's say like Russia and other countries like China, are major exporters of goods, versus like here we're always importing so much. Someone told me, and I could be wrong, that a lot of folks in more of the outskirts, the rural areas, I don't know if that's a term over there, rural areas of Russia, are more self-sufficient, being that a lot of people grow their own foods out in the rural areas. Is that factual or?
Let me grab earphones because I can hear you not so well. Just give me 1 second. I apologize.
No, take your time, man.
I'll answer the question. I understand what you're asking me. These are a couple questions at one. Okay. Here's the mic.
Live streams can always be weird sometimes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So you said that China and Russia are huge exporters, exporting tons of stuff. That's true and not true at the same time. Russia exports raw materials. Russia exports gas, oil, metals, rare metals, pulp, things like that. Anything that can be extracted from earth or that grows, that Russia is rich at, okay, and that exports. But we don't really produce like anything like manufactured goods, planes, cars, anything like that. We import everything.
Wow.
So Russia is the importer, but because of a huge amount of natural resources. Okay. And this is the problem, that everything we're getting canceled by the companies and nothing's coming into Russia. And we go like, what are we going to do now? Okay. But second question was Russia was what Russians, correct me if I'm wrong, but Russians can survive being canceled from everyone, right? You said something like providing for themselves.
Yeah, there's an assumption that I'm not sure if it's the same in the city as it is in the outskirts of the major cities, but a lot of people say that they're able to have the ability to grow their own food for their families.
That's true. All Russians are ultimate preppers, except for young people, because we were born and raised in the USSR. And let me tell you, we did not have much food back then. So a lot of people, if not all, they were resourceful. Okay, we were allowed to have like small, tiny plots of land, and people would go and plant potatoes, then harvest, store it somewhere, and that would provide us enough food not to starve in winter. And not just potatoes, but everything: tomatoes, pickles, and cucumbers, and the women usually would pickle everything, can everything, and resourceful. Okay, so we have good land in Russia, and worst comes to worst, okay, we're not gonna get anything, but we're not gonna starve to death. Okay, we will survive. But is that the kind of life I want? No. Other Russians want? No. We want different life. We want to live in a global community. We want to live normal lives, good lives. Kind of, you know what? I would agree to go back to where we were like a couple years ago, or gosh, even 2 months ago. That was okay. Had challenges, but in general, it was okay. I hope I answered your question.
No, you did, definitely. Because like I said, from my perspective, it's like secondhand information, what you read and what you try to learn. But you're there, you lived it, you've gone through it, you were raised there. So it's great to hear that information from someone that's, been through that process. You know what I mean?
At the age of 6, I was used as a slave laborer by my parents and grandparents to help them with potatoes. It was a tradition. You had to help once you reach like 6, 7 years old. you must have, you had to help your parents. It was like not a discussion. Just, okay, do it. Here's, I don't know how you call this thing, and you go and plant it first, and then you take care of the weeds and bugs, and then you harvest and things like that. So I remember, yeah.
I mean, here I don't know how it was for you, but I wish some of the kids here would do that in the aspect because they bury themselves in social media. Social media controls our children's lives a lot of times. But to me, that's a skill at that age that you'll probably learn that you'll probably never forget.
That's true. The thing is, if you must do that for survival, great, that's not fun.
No, I agree.
If you kind of throw it into your kid's life as a variety, a hobby, or a good skill to have, or education, or whatever, that's fine. But if you are forced to do that to survive, that's pretty bad. I hate potatoes. I hate anything with like growing potatoes and stuff like that. And that comes from my childhood. Okay, when I was forced every summer to go and spend time.
So no McDonald's French fries for you, huh?
I like eating potatoes. I just hate growing it. Now I'm 45 and I start just accepting the idea of planting things for fun, for enjoyment and stuff like that. Because before it was something really bad.
Gotcha. I can understand that, being forced to do something and being able just to do something on your own because you choose to do so, having that freedom to do so and make that choice.
Yep.
I was holding this comment here. Where'd it go? Empress Kimberly had asked, did he hold physical gold or silver before this?
Me, did I hold?
Yeah, do you we call it prepping, but prepping, do you have silver and gold?
Yeah, I understand. It's illegal in Russia. You cannot hold it. You can only buy, it's called investment gold, investment silver. You have to go to a special bank in Russia and they give you a certificate.
Oh, wow.
That's not my understanding on holding metal. I want to hold something in my hand. The only thing I have is $1 bullion. One of my subscribers sent it by mail as a present, and that's what I have. Silver, that's it. And I have some jewelry, so that's not much.
That's very intriguing. I had no clue, man. That's wild to say the least.
It's Russia. It's Russia, You can't. I think it's illegal. I'm not sure. Is it highly illegal or not? But they want to control everything. Okay, they don't want us to give us control of our lives. They want us to depend on the government, so the government provides. But then you don't have to mess with the government. You kind of accept it.
I don't know if you, like I said, do you have access to like U.S. media and whatnot over there?
Yes, I do. Well, I do because I speak English. We all do, but a lot of people do, but it doesn't make them any good because they can't understand.
Ah, okay. The reason I was asking is, I have some friends that I've talked to. So I'm Cuban. I don't know if I told you that, Constantine, or not. I'm Cuban. So a lot of my family on my father's side was born in Cuba, raised in Cuba, and they told me what it's like to live in Cuba, as well as a couple other folks like frontier preppers. They're Billy's from Cuba, and or at least Billy is. I know that, and he explained to me life in Cuba, how restrictive it is, and some of the things that they had to do just to live. Being that, I'm just trying to make sure I say things without saying things, if that makes any sense. The political.
I'm reading between the lines. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, not a problem at all, man. But even my family, they said it's just really rough. And I think sometimes Americans don't see it. And I'm assuming this is okay to say, we had a lot of things happen over the last 2 years in our country with large protests. And we had a group of folks in Chicago, one of the major cities here, and they were protesting and marching in the street, preaching that they want communism, and they want communism now. I said to myself, I don't think these group of young people, maybe a little older, don't understand that concept behind what they're asking for. Because I thought to myself, you're protesting in the street, and most countries that have that political affiliation, you don't protest. That doesn't
Certainly
happen.
not in communism. Certainly not in communism.
So it was kind of a laughing moment, but I'm thinking, are these I'm looking at them like, are you guys crazy? Like, what are you guys thinking? And I don't think they value their freedom. And a lot of us folks here in the U.S. will say things like, well, if that's how you feel, well, let's ship you off and you live over there for a while and see if that's what you really want,
And I think it's very therapeutic. It would be excellent experience for many people if you actually did that. I've been to Cuba a few times.
Oh, wow,
And
really?
long time ago, like 10 years ago. Yeah, last time I was, yeah, about 10 years ago. And let me tell you something. The first time I got to Cuba, I looked around and I said, wow, I've seen this. I've heard this music before. The USSR, only much worse, okay? They literally, it was, everyone is in great shape in Cuba because they don't have carbs. They don't eat much, okay? There's nothing at the stores. All Cubans make the same salary, just like we did in the USSR, $15. And they pretend that they work, and the government pretends that it pays them. So just like it was in the USSR, same thing, okay? The only difference is much nicer climate in Cuba, ocean, warmth all the time and stuff. Everything else, absolutely same. All those kids or people protesting, you have nailed it, because they have no clue what they're asking. They don't understand what communism is all about. Actually, communism is greatly misunderstood. There are no countries with communism, and we didn't have communism in the SSR. You called it communism, we called it communism, but really totalitarianism. Okay, there was a group of people, they controlled everything, and then that's not communism. Okay, to me that's crazy. When I first landed in the United States, I felt so much freedom. It was the most wonderful thing in the world, even though Russia was free at the time, 1996, still I felt incredible freedom, and it was the best thing in life. I can't imagine someone wants to give it up just for what.
It's insane to say the least, Constantine. And when I hear it, and that's why a lot of us Americans, we look at these people like they're insane. And it's to the point where there's in our political environment, I think I might have talked about this at one point or another. Even our generals, we had a couple military generals here in the U.S. I don't know if it was Miley or not. One of the generals, and I know you probably don't get this information like this specific type of information, but he, read Karl Marx's book on Marxism and whatnot, and he said
Das Kapital.
Yeah, and he referenced it like it was like something good. That he said it was a great book, and the aspect of the how it was written and whatnot. And I'm like, this is someone who is in power in the military saying this to the American people, and that just blew me away. That's what some of our higher ups are doing. But see, here I can, if I want to call, I call him Corn Pop. That's my name for him. Because of course, and it's funny because of our First Amendment is still being somewhat limited. So we come up with these nicknames like Corn Pop, and I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. I'm assuming you do. That's the name that we've chosen for him on the channel. But we can make fun, and we can do certain things to a certain extent, of course, before they come knocking on our doors. But it's just I just don't think some of the younger generation that's, as we call it, being indoctrinated through our school systems, understand what freedom is truly. There's a lot of weird things happening in our country in regards to the school systems. And I talked about this, and I don't know if I can really talk about it here on this stream, because there was a gentleman that had defected and to Canada, and he had this whole conversation, and he gave out a lot of information of what they were doing to the United States, because we have such a free environment. Information can move freely versus somewhere else where it's very controlled. The information is very controlled. I know I'm talking in riddles, but
Well, I'm trying to read between the lines. But if you want to know my opinion about this, I certainly have noticed, but that's not the biggest problem, the information flow. Information flowing freely is actually a great thing, as the example of Russia shows. As you know, recently Facebook was named, well, Meta, its parent company was called Extremist. And we basically have been stripped of access to Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and that's it. And now we still can use it. Companies cannot, because they'll be fined. We, people, like regular people, we can use it, but you know what? They can make a law that it easily, if you put one post on Facebook, then you cooperate with an extremist organization, okay? So information is actually great. It's not about information. It's about, as one of my American friends told me not too long ago, he said, listen, good times create soft people. Soft people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times for a country. I think a lot of Americans had it very good and had to work very little for that and took it for granted. In the past, I don't know, 40 years, perhaps 30 years, something like that. And didn't have to, you see, a lot of immigrants coming to the United States, they succeed because they're willing to do anything. They're willing to, eat, bite on metal with their teeth to make a buck and to become successful. But Americans don't have to do that because they already have given a lot at birth, okay? And that trend has gone to the point when things started going down, okay? This is, I think, that's what happened with the United States. And another thing is you have lost the control with the politicians because your system, political system, is the best in the world. It's about people first, and then politicians is the function of people. Politicians serve people, okay? Politicians are changed every 2 or 4 years, and you are the boss, okay? They serve you. In Russia, it's not. In other countries, it's not like that, okay? So I think your system is absolutely fantastic, but a lot of Americans stopped caring about politics. They've kind of like given up control of these things. That, hey, I'm okay. I don't have to vote. I don't have to. Just like my first wife in Maine, I asked her like, "Who are you gonna vote for?" I said, "You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go vote. Why? Why? Because I'm not informed well enough to make a right decision." Okay, that was her answer and answer of many people. And hey, why don't you just educate yourself to make that decision? Because that's your life. Because you need to put the right person into the office who represent you. And if you just let this right go, then who knows what's going to happen? You've seen that things have been happening. This is exactly why. Because people have lost touch on the politicians. That two problems with the United States, I see that exactly what you're talking about. Things going downhill. Okay. Forgive me if I speak about America sitting in Russia, But
you're fine, man.
I have an opinion.
We like to have an opportunity to have a dialogue and a discussion. I want to give you the freedom to choose to have this discussion and be able to say what you want. You know what I mean? And it's always like, some people may agree to disagree, but at least we can have that conversation. It's and I want to try to word this in a certain way because this question gets asked a lot of me, and I know the way I answer it. Are you familiar with the previous administration?
Well, more or less, more
Okay.
or less.
A lot of people ask me, do you think if the previous administration would have won versus the administration that's in power now, do you think this would have happened? Do you think we'd be in the position right now, being in your position and our position, and of course the conflict that's going on?
Gray, I can tell you this much. It's really difficult to say. Okay, you are asking almost impossible. I can tell you this much. Things would have been different. I'm not sure for better or for worse, but they would be certainly different than what they are right now.
Intriguing. And it's just funny because it's something that I'm asked a lot. A lot of people make that statement here in the U.S. Well, if he was still our current president, a lot of other people around the globe feared what he would do in response to anything going on that wasn't okay with the West. Because how do I say this without making everybody mad at me? But we can be somewhat of a bully at times. You know what I mean?
Can be. I'm sorry. You have been for the past 50 years.
Right.
The biggest one.
I'll let you say that instead of me. I had this conversation with someone at my place of business, and I wasn't trying to make light of the situation, but I was saying that when we invaded a country here not too long ago in Iraq, per se, right? When we went there, we did what we did. We, bombers, everything that we did over there for a premise of, we call it WMDs, without getting too precise, which there were none, but we still invaded the country, took out the leader, and then, try to change it to a democratic country and whatnot. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it just not only makes sense. I remember the events quite well because I was in Maine. I was living in Maine when it was happening. And then I actually dated a girl when I was single here in Moscow, and she was from higher ups in Iraq. She was half Russian, half Ukrainian, half Iraqi. And then she told me a lot about, particularly on Iraq before war, how things were in Iraq.
Yeah, that would be a quite intriguing conversation, or to have that perspective. You know what I mean? We are a republic, not a democratic government. Hey, Steve, you're absolutely right. We're a republic of sovereign states. A lot of people think that we are a democratic government. And even the politicians will say that as well, Steve. But you're absolutely right. We are a republic. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, we have to use discretion.
Yeah, please. Please. I think moderators are doing a wonderful job.
Agreed. Thank you, guys.
Applause for them, please.
And curious last, yeah, that's, I guess, more of a proper way to say it, a constitutional republic. All right, so I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. I think we should change the subject. All right, Lorna, we will. I wanted you had a great conversation on your live stream this morning about what you see in the news and then what we see in the news, and how that differentiates between things. And we've been talking about it here on my channel for some time, that we feel that, something's off. You know what I mean? The information that we're getting. And I'm assuming that you feel somewhat in a similar instance. You know what I mean? We're fed a bunch of information. Even, I'm trying to think of ways to say this. Our news media. So I don't know if you know this. Here in the U.S., the news can legally lie to the American people, legally, without repercussions.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's law. They can legally lie to the American people. When I found the research and did the documentation and stuff like that, I did a video on it, and I was amazed that our news agencies can lie to the American people. Blew me up. And I was just like, wow. And most folks, like I said, most folks don't know that they have that capability to do so. But anyways, moving on. Where are we at?
That was a
Anne Marie-
question I saw in the chat. To me, Steven Spillman, Constantine, how big of a farm did you live on? I'm a city boy. I lived in a city, but my grandparents lived, you cannot call it a farm because there weren't any in the USSR. There was a collective farm, meaning tons of land, and in the middle, there were houses of workers, peasants, and there was a school usually, there was some kind of little concert hall, things like that, little infrastructure. And everyone would go out and work at the fields that belonged to the government. That was a job, basically. But after you're done with the job, like most people had a little bit of land, and then they could work on the land. So it's not even a farm, I don't know, perhaps an acre, half acre, something like that. So it was tiny.
Heidi, and I forgot to tell you, Heidi, welcome to the Grey family. I saw you earlier today, so I thank you for that. And then Trudy J said, Constantine, what can we do to best support you?
I was gonna make a joke, but like, no, I better not. Caught myself. Okay. The best support would be come to live streams that I do daily, watch what I gotta say, listen to what I gotta say, and then pray with me, send me good wishes, good prayers. Pretty much that's the best support you can do, and I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's and if you guys get a chance, let the commercials run. I mean, you see Yarn Prepper all the time. She'll pop it in there. It's the best way to help a channel out sometimes if you have no other way to do so. Let the commercial run for a few seconds. That'll help out the channel tremendously.
Yes, it does.
And I'm trying. I got a lot of information as soon as I said that our news lies. And you guys should go back in my videos. I show proof and documentation. I would not say something without having some sort of factual evidence to back myself up, because, like I said, YouTube is forever, unless, well, not really forever, but what you say on social media is kind of there. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Let me see, what else do we got here? I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any other comments, because I probably missed a whole bunch because I'm really focusing on you tonight, brother. Let's see.
Okay.
And that, I'm trying to see, Papa, and I think Papa's from your channel. He says, hi from Wisconsin. He says, what type of behaviors of Russian have you seen that make you feel proud to be Russian? Is that a question you can answer?
Yeah, sure. Families, family values, incredible families. If you're part of a family, you never feel alone. You get in trouble, you need anything, it's not even a question. You just let people know. You don't ask for anything. They just do it for you. Okay. You need money, just like that. They loan you and say, hey, anytime you can give us back. It's no schedule or no interest or anything. It's like so close, people in the families here in Russia. And it more than families, it's just the communities. For example, neighbors, they're almost like family. Okay, the neighbors here are closer to each other than in America, the family members. Okay, so that's pretty much it makes me proud about being Russian, and it's really good thing about Russia. I really missed it when I lived in the USA, because the United States is for just self-made men. The best, your idea is, you gotta be a self-man-made. You are alone enough force to actually succeed, to actually, live and have a family, and just you alone. You know what I mean? In Russia, it's you're part of something bigger, and I like it.
That
It's
is
the same
nice.
as this community. Okay, I'm sitting in Russia, and it's not the best of times. I would say it's the worst of times for the past month. And my heart kind of breaks apart, and I fall apart myself because, excuse me, so emotional, so painful. And all of a sudden, I'm not alone anymore because I do live streams and there are so many people support me in emails, in comments, and they send me super chats, money, prayers, everything. I feel like I'm not alone, and you know what? That's therapeutic. That makes me feel so much better. Okay, that's just one example. Imagine having a real family like that, aunts, uncles. There are about 40 plus people in my family, and they mostly live in the south of Russia. And then every time I go there, it's incredible.
And as I say, do you guys, when you guys have dinner, do you guys like eat dinner at the table as a family unit?
Yes, yes, of course. We are so similar to Americans, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start the channel to show how similar we were. Because when I was in America, people, when they learned I was Russian, they were like, "What? You Russian? And you're normal? That's incredible." Okay, and they would start asking me questions about Russia, and then I would tell them, "Oh, do you have stores in Russia? Do you have I was actually I got upset a few times when they were asking me questions like that, and I got used to it because it's just funny, and people there didn't understand how similar our values are, how similar we are as human beings. We have same culture, same language, same set of ethics, morals. Like if you take like people in China, they're completely different. Okay, they're like Martians to us. But if you take compare Russian and American, same thing. Hey, we even drink vodka in Americans and Russians. Okay, same thing. So everything is same. I mean, you name a difference that we have. Okay. Well, I'm not taking this situation for the past four weeks, but let's go before that. Just name me three differences in you won't, because there aren't many.
Yeah, I paused it here for a second because it said, I found Waldo said blending of followers on these two channels reminds me of when two churches agreed to get together on a Sunday morning. I thought that was pretty funny. Oh man. And I have two super chats I wanted to go over. Elizabeth, thank you for the super chat. Information in countries I have to run VPN translator to find anything. No one wins from this, I hope. I agree, Elizabeth. Yeah, people been mentioning that. And there was another one I wanted to get to, and then yeah, someone said nice. Ibram one says nice to beautiful sunrise for a change, Constantine. And thank you for the super chat. Understandable, Kit. Gray, you have to see his holiday dinner video. I will. Healthy disrespect. I will check it out. Someone said people keep on asking me about. I'm not going to say exactly what they're asking me, but the Alaska thing. He's not going to have any information on that, folks. He's not going to have information that like that. That's more of a military thing. I don't even know if that's a word. A military thing. It's.
Don't ask me anything about military right now, because I'm not going to answer. I know quite a few things, but I'm not going to answer That's just going to get me in trouble. Okay. You know yourself everything there is to know. Okay. Great. I take one step back. If you really want to see how similar we are, go back and see my wedding video. I think I took it down a couple days ago. But anyway, I'll put it up for a limited time only. Basically, there was a filming of my and my wife's wedding, and that's celebrations like that. They go deep into people's hearts. Okay, and this is where you can see the similarities and the differences, and just watch the wedding and try to imagine yourself having a wedding like that, and that's going to be the same. So go and watch the wedding and then compare.
Oh, Minuteman, you're hilarious. They were dumping out in the streets, Minuteman. You should have went and grabbed some before they dumped it all out. I thought it was ridiculous. They already paid for it, but they were dumping it in the streets. I think that was just a waste of vodka. No mail in or out.
Pretty cool question from Bitter Critter. Constantine question: are American fashions and sports popular there? Fashions, no, because Americans are grossly underdressed from a point of view of a regular person. Grossly underdressed. Okay. We dress up a lot, and women dress up anytime they leave their house, apartment. They make up and everything, you know. We we aim to Italy and France, and those people are overdressed. Okay, so we're more like them in many ways, but American fashions, no. Sports, yes, very much so. A lot of Russians love hockey, so NHL is huge entertainment here. Well, was not anymore since it's been canceled, but NBA hugely popular here. You know, what else? American athletes, you know, those icons. You know, all kinds of the swimmers and different kinds of athletes. Very popular here in Russia. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I'm looking at, and a lot of people are agreeing with it. And Brandy, yeah, like Constantine said in the beginning, he has very a conservative viewpoint in regards to that. And no, I don't think they have NASCAR Minute Man. I don't know if you guys have NASCAR.
That's very American thing. No NASCAR. We watch Formula One. It's global, really, and no American football. We call it American football, and no baseball. Okay.
Rudy, I think Constantine goes live daily, right?
Yes, these trying times I go daily. I used to go once or twice a week, but not anymore. Since the 24th, everything changed.
I was gonna say what I'm trying to think of, is it Yarn told me it was like something, was it 4 East or 4 Central time? It's hard. I know Yarn Prepper knows for sure.
It's 4 p.m. Eastern Central Time, New York time.
Okay.
It's my 11, so I stream every night from 11 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
That's in Moscow, and that's 4 to 5 p.m. in New York.
Bell Prepper, that's awesome. And yes, if you guys get an opportunity to check out his videos, man. If you guys really, I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg of just a conversation between me and Constantine and some questions that have been thrown out. You know, we're kind of limited. You know, I run an hour. We're already at an hour. Time flies.
You know what? This is so much fun because I am so tired of talking about serious stuff every single day. And thank you for inviting. This is awesome. Okay, this is what my streams used to be like, about having fun.
Even in the worst times, brother, you got to have some sort of outlet. You know what I mean? And a lot of people tell me the way I present material on my channel is that I do it in a very calm manner. So they like to listen to me in that aspect. I don't ever want to push fear and things like that. I love having a good time with, with guests and stuff like that. I love to, let my guests speak and their opinions and whatnot. It's just a good time. And that's how you build friendships,
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good time for you, and it's pleasurable. You make it a good time for everyone if you do the stream.
And yes, and you folks, if you go to Constantine's streams, his mods will let you know it's somewhat restrictive in the fact because of the situation. You have to understand the situation. It's not like here in the U.S. where you can just laugh off, say whatever the heck you want, and you might get a yellow, you might get a limited video. There, it's a lot more consequential. Or did I even say that right?
Let's put it this way: I used to care about censorship from YouTube. Because what's the worst thing can happen, right? YouTube cancels your channel. You work so hard on building audience and people and giving good materials, and boom, that's just 1 minute comes, YouTube cancels. But now I don't really care about YouTube canceling my channel. I care about other bigger things, you know, canceling me.
And let me see. I saw. Hold on. I got a couple things real quick. And we only got a little bit more time. Brandon, can I have bad news with a smile? Yeah, that's me. So he's out of Russia and not in Russia. No, Elizabeth, he is in Russia. He lives in Russia. And Rudy,
in the very heart of Russia, in Moscow.
Yeah, right in Moscow. Which the architecture there is beautiful. But Rudy had asked me, yes, you can do super chats on his channel. He does have that capability to do so.
I have good news, mods. I was just transferred money for February into my account. It's not much there, you know. This month is going to be so much different, but we actually still can get money from YouTube in Russia. That's the last thing we can get. Seriously, that's what they canceled everything else. They canceled PayPal, all kinds of payment system. Western Union just announced that it's leaving Russia. So AdSense is the only outlet that can send money to Russia. That's it. I don't know how long it's gonna stay for, but so far so good. And other creators, Russian creators, also receive their payouts. Super chats would be wonderful, you know, but not the main thing. Really, I don't do my channel. It's not about money. I have a job, although I don't know for how long, because our industry is imploding here in Russia. It's so freaking bad. You don't even understand. But I don't, at least at this point, I don't rely on YouTube for money, you know. And it's about spreading the word, spreading the message first for me, and then comments, prayers, you know, communications, talking to people, and super chats. That's what that also helps. Let's put it this way. But the community's been awesome so far. So is it time? I'm gonna.
Yeah, just about. And Kaylin, I missed your question. I didn't know what you meant about rations. I'm not sure what that meant, so I do apologize. You know, and it's hard to get everyone's questions, so I do apologize. That's why sometimes I'll do some follow-up live streams down the road, and we can chat about this and stuff like that. And then I did see a super chat come in from Gary. Have you read The Rulers of Russia? I guess it's a book.
No, I've seen The Rulers of Russia.
Right?
I've seen one recently. Very recently.
Thank you for that, Gary. I truly appreciate the support. Firefly Farm says, do you go bike riding?
Do I go bike riding? Well, not lately, but I love bike riding. You know, where I live has tons of woods, forests, and bike routes everywhere. So yeah, I'm making my son ride a bicycle. I'm teaching him. He's old enough, and as soon as he starts riding bicycle, I think I'm gonna pick that up again too.
No, yeah, I enjoy riding bikes a lot, and I'm gonna just go a couple more folks, and then we're gonna call it. Okay, Sue, his email. I think his moderators can drop his email for you. She said, "What is your email, and how is prepping in Russia different?" I swear that I think
how's prepping not different from anywhere else. You know, same potatoes, same canning, same growing. Everything is absolutely the same. Climates are different because, you know, well, obviously Russia is more like Canada and you're more to the south. But other than that, everything is same. People are same. We have two hands on this side of the pond. You do the same on that side of the pond. So everything is same.
And Bell Prepper, he is very, very, very tired. He hasn't had much sleep in the last several days at all. And he took the time out to come here and hang out with us on the channel. So I truly appreciate that, Constantine. I truly do. And the last question I'm going to go is, and I do apologize, folks. I do apologize that I couldn't get to all of them. Maybe we'll have him back on the channel when he gets some rest. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'd love to. Let's do that again. No problem. Just let me know when.
I appreciate that. Sunset just said, are you, let's say if you wanted to come, can you leave the country at the moment if you wanted to go somewhere?
I still can.
Well, that's good to hear.
Excuse me, but I don't know for how long. I don't know for how long.
And Gary, it is a book. I'm going to look up that book, Gary, because I'm curious about it. But definitely, I can imagine. And Brandy, yeah, a lot of people are saying this was great and they had a good time. So I truly appreciate all you folks that have joined us on this live stream. I truly appreciate every single one of you. I do. And I apologize if I missed your questions. And like I said, we'll have them on here again, and maybe we'll have more time because these hours, they just fly by. And, this has kind of been my introduction to you guys, to his channel, and a little bit about him because of what's going on in the world today. And it's nice to have someone of sound mind that can tell you how it is and what life is like right now in that situation. And mods, you guys did a phenomenal job. I didn't see anybody get banned, so that's a good thing. And any mods that came over from Constantine, if you guys ever want to be backup mods or something like that, please feel free to email me. I'm always, you guys did a great job. And Yarn Prepper is one of my mods as well, who also mods for Constantine. Did you, I don't know if you want to or not, it's totally up to you. If you want to either have any last, like a last word, or do you want to, go out with a prayer? Cause I know you like to pray on the way out.
I'd love to. Yeah. Sure. Well, I want to thank you for having me. And I want to thank everyone for, actually, I see so many comments, great comments. Thank you so much. I see Heidi Wolf. I have so many people that I know in my chats from my community. That's great. That's a really small world, Thank you. And Gray, let's do that again. I've had fun. I've had fun. Absolutely. I would love to do that again.
I'm glad. That's the response that I hope for. And if I missed anybody out there, like I said, thank you, all you mods. I didn't mean to single anybody out. I just know Yarn does modding for both of us. But you guys are more than welcome to stay.
I would like to say that a lot of you, I take it, a lot of you are conservative out here in this chat, and you're Christian. So please join me in prayer. But even if you don't believe, there are people like that, and quite a few of them. Then we've been doing both a lot of work for you, giving information, setting up the stream, and so forth. So please pay us back, not with money, but with a couple of minutes of your time. So just pray along with us. If you don't believe, it's not going to cost you anything, right? But even if you don't believe in God, then He believes in you. So would you please join us in prayer? And I'm not good at praying. I'm just telling you right up front. I don't read prayers from the books, scriptures, and things like that. I just, whatever I feel in my heart, that's what I do. Okay, it's going to be a very, very short one. And another thing is, I had never prayed before publicly before this whole thing, started in Ukraine. So that's when I started. So I'm really new at this. God, thank you so much for giving us this chat, the stream. It's been great. So many new people, and thanks for the host. Thank you for giving food on our tables. Thanks for giving roofs on our heads. Thanks for us being here, for breathing, for living. And I would like to ask you to please send peace to Ukraine. Please put sense into the heads of people who make decisions on whether to continue or stop the bloodshed. Open their hearts and fill them with love and remorse, and open their eyes so they can see what has been done already, and they can be terrified of that. Please have them stop the bloodshed. I would like to ask you to help all Ukrainians and all people in Ukraine of other nationalities as well, soldiers, Ukrainian, Russian, Ukrainian people, everyone who is caught in this terrible situation. Please send angels so they help out all the people. And please send angels with very sharp swords to my country to get rid of the demons that have hijacked Russia. Have angels run it and have them shine, make Russia shine, and just be a good neighbor to all the countries around, and just be a righteous example for the rest of the world. Thank you. Please have all people who are in the stream, in this live stream and in this chat, praying with us, have all their prayers and wishes answered. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Truly
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. And thank you all. I truly appreciate you. Please stay safe out there, everyone. Let me pull this up real quick. If you want to hang just for 1 second, Constantine. But bless all you folks out there. Please stay safe. Stay prepped up, folks. You just never know what tomorrow's going to bring. This is GreyMan and Constantine, and we're out. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Great. I think it was great.